You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. This is the Zany Mystic, otherwise known as Lance White, and I'm back on track. I'm well this week. I'm sorry I missed y'all last week, but even my archive shows are hopefully still entertaining. Tonight, my guest is Bill Austin. Bill Austin is a spiritual healer, teacher, artist, writer, and visionary living in St. Petersburg, Florida, I believe, in the United States, although I didn't have to tell you that. Anyway, he has been on the spiritual path for over 18 years now and has been working as a full-time spiritual healer for over 6 years. He founded Practical Mastery and Angelic Mastery spiritual healing modalities and has helped hundreds of people, probably thousands, if not more, people around the world. So let's meet Bill right now by saying hello to him. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Lance?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm doing all right. I was just reviewing your artwork and your book and all that, and just admiring the beauty of it. And maybe we could start out by having you tell everybody, give everybody a little bit of your background and, you know, where you came from. How did you discover spirituality, and what were you doing before then, and what prompted you to turn in this direction?
Well, I guess I have a fairly normal childhood. I grew up in Central Virginia. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a nurse. I had a very traditional sort of life. I went to William & Mary for college, graduated in '83 with a degree in economics, worked several years as an economist for the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Oh.
And then I decided that,
That's interesting.
And then I decided to enter law school in an act of total insanity because, this was about in 1987, and during that time, I write a little bit about this in the books, but during that time, harmonic convergence or concordance or one of the two was going on, and it really put my life in disarray. I developed severe insomnia, had a lot of problems, and doctors really couldn't help. So I graduated from UVA Law School, which is a very good law school, without a job, broke, back problems, all sorts of things, and ended up in Philadelphia, where the legal market promptly collapsed as soon as I got licensed with the Pennsylvania bar. And it was a very rough time in my life, but I lost a lot of my credence in doctors. I tried a lot of things for insomnia, and it didn't work. And I took up meditation, and I had my first mystical experience the early months when I was living in Philadelphia as well. I was coming back from D.C. to Philadelphia on the bus, and I had this mystical opening in a way, and it felt like 100,000 watts of love entered a 10-watt battery. And I thought I was going insane with the sleep deprivation and stuff, and didn't talk about it for a long period of time, but I guess it was my first awakening, really, to the path I ended up walking. And I've been on, that was in early 1990, and I've been on this path for a long time. I was on a spiritual path for about 10 years before I began hearing the call to heal. And I really blew it off because I didn't really want to do that. I mean, most of the healers I knew who did energy work, they dressed very funny. They were very poor and very strange people. So
yes.
I had a very conventional job at that time. I was working for the state of Colorado. Part of my job was I was the system administrator for the office. I was also doing program management, a little bit of project management, a little bit of buying, I do a lot of different things. I've had a lot of different careers in my life. And when I first heard the urge to heal, I really sort of blew it off and hoped it would go away, and it really didn't go away. It got stronger and stronger. So I caved in and did my first energy healing class, I think sometime in like early 2000.
Okay.
And for the first few years, I was working for the state and doing my healing practice at night, and then I decided that I started getting the urge that I needed to begin doing it full time. So I quit my regular job in June of 2003, and for a couple of years I sort of coasted. I was doing other people's modalities and doing very well, helping promote other people's work in a way. And then all the stuff I began working on didn't work anymore for me, and it put me in sort of a crisis. So then I ended up bringing in my own modality. I began out with practical mastery and moved on from there. So that's sort of a long answer to that question. But,
well, good. I like that, because I want you to do most of the talking tonight.
No, that's your job. You're supposed to be good at this. You're the expert.
Oh, that's just a bunch of you-know-what. Just kidding.
Okay.
So you developed your own techniques, because I found that has occurred to me too, that some of the things that I do to connect spiritually, sometimes they just stop working. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, this has worked for 20 years, why isn't it working now? Well, something's changed and it doesn't work anymore. Just accept that and find some new way. You don't have to follow somebody else's path. You can invent your own. And so, you have to keep reinventing or reconnecting with new ways to heal yourself and to connect to your own source, I think.
Yeah, and I always knew that I was supposed to bring in my own stuff and do my own stuff, but I was doing so well promoting other people's stuff. It's like, I was not very inspired to bring in my own stuff. And you go through that. When you bring in your own stuff, it's very common to go through that whole doubt thing. Oh, it's my stuff. Is it as good as other people's stuff?
Oh, exactly.
And, all that doubt and self-sabotage. But the way I also do the thing, Lance, is most of the modalities I learned were anchored in what I call the mental paradigm, the paradigm of the mind. And Earth has entered what I call the paradigm of the heart, the higher dimensions. And a lot of the modalities, I was moving out personally from the mental paradigm to the paradigm of the heart. And so a lot of the stuff that was tied to the mental paradigm didn't work for me anymore, because that wasn't where my heart was anymore. And I also had contracts to bring in my own stuff, and it's been very nerve-wracking at times bringing in my own stuff, but also very fulfilling as well.
Well, isn't that a process of aligning with your own soul's contract or intent prior to incarnating? Or is that
I think we have a lot of different things we can do.
Yeah.
People talk about, like, contracts with the Creator to do certain things, and I came in with a lot of different skills and stuff, and I had no idea what I'd be doing. Earth really... No one, when I incarnated, like I was born in 1961, and no one on the inner planes really thought that Earth would ascend, they thought Earth would ascend, but they didn't think humanity would choose to ascend with the planet. So, there are a lot of different flexibility in contracts and stuff, and when I work with clients a lot, I work with very highly evolved teachers and healers and clients. A lot of times, I find when I look at them and their lives that the contracts that they're doing are not the contracts that are aligned with their highest good at this time. New stuff comes in, but we like to cling to the old because it's safe and acceptable.
Yes, absolutely.
And every time I try to do something like that, I get just really hammered by the universe because,
me too.
My God self plays really hardball with me.
Yes, I know a little bit about hardball.
I gather from your book. You definitely have had some very interesting life experiences.
Well, yes, to say the least. And since you mentioned my book, I will mention to the listeners, whoever is interested out there, that it is available on Amazon.com, and you can go and read reviews of it. It's called Tales of a Zany Mystic by Lance White, L.B. White. You can go to Amazon.com and check out the reviews and see if it's something you'd be interested in purchasing and finding out why this is such an interesting book. Well, anyway.
Well, everyone's path is really interesting. I mean,
I think so too. Yeah, and you get to hear other people's paths, and plus, you connect at a higher level, don't you?
Well, everyone connects at a higher level. I mean.
Yeah, but I don't read people. You can. I mean, I can't tell you what your higher path would be, but you probably would be able to tell me what mine might be if you really intended
I guess
to.
I don't really. That's an interesting question. I have a lot of psychic intuitive gifts, but I also see how much people can change. Like when I look at psychic realities or read or whatever you want to say, I mean, I see a lot of different probable futures. And when I work with clients, if they choose to drop a belief system and adopt a new belief, you know, it's almost like everything gets slid to the slide and whole new realities come in. So I don't really do psychic readings because I have a great faith in people's ability to change their future. And I also found that, like, so many people on the spiritual path give away their power to psychics. It's a very, very, very frustrating thing for me. You know, a lot of times I really think that people are meant to go within their heart to get their answers, and a lot of times people get their answers, and then the psychic doesn't agree, and then they drop their heart. This whole life is very, very interesting. You never know what will happen in life. I never dreamed I'd be doing radio show interviews. But I think I'll go back to what I was talking about. I really think that this time, each person is an aspect of God Creator, and it's really important for people to connect with who they truly are and to listen to the wisdom that's deep inside themselves. And sometimes it takes, most people don't live authentically. We've gotten into the habit of pleasing other people or looking outside ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just really important to go within and get your answers from within.
I totally agree with you on that one. But, you know, it takes such a long time to get to that place. And then sometimes, you know, self-doubt is the killer. That, you know, when you doubt yourself, when that little seed comes in and, well, I wonder if somebody else knows more, every time I go with somebody else's solution, I'm always making the wrong choice. And it always becomes obvious, and it's like, okay, well, you knew this was going to happen, Lance. This is another validation that you need to listen to yourself.
Well, what you do, Lance, is you begin with small steps. Like, if you want to begin getting guidance, don't ask the $50 million question. Ask the 5-cent question. What feels better to eat dinner to lunch today? Don't ask, what in the world am I going to do with my life? Because the plan constantly changes, and you constantly change, and the answer constantly changes. But you begin with small things and work up. But you build your confidence on what does my stomach want to eat right now before you answer the question of what am I supposed to do on this silly world that we live in.
Very nice. I like that, and that's kind of the direction I've gone in. And it seems like the answer just kind of shows up, and if I just go with the flow and don't think about it and come from, I guess it would be the heart or the intuition. I don't know where you would want to place that.
Also, like when you ask a question, usually the first answer you get is right because the mental body doesn't screw it up.
Yeah.
You know, when you ask, like you immediately get a sense of where something is or isn't aligned with you, but then you doubt it because the mental body and the ego mind are great at the self-sabotage and the doubt and all that stuff.
Oh, they love to throw monkey wrenches into everything. So usually, like you said, I find my first gut reaction is the right one, and then my mind will start giving me all the reasons why not. So I know that that's not what I should listen to, so I just let the mind rattle on and say, thank you for sharing, and next.
And that's one of the gifts of meditation. When I began out on the spiritual path, I meditated a lot, and I didn't pray very much at all. Now I pray a lot, and I don't meditate much at all, but the whole practice of meditation helps to still the mind so you can get more clearer guidance. The other really important thing, I think, for people who want to make changes in your life, don't make huge changes, make baby changes.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, don't try to, you know, that's what gets people on so many things like losing weight or whatever, is people try to leapfrog
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. This is the Zany Mystic, otherwise known as Lance White, and I'm back on track. I'm well this week. I'm sorry I missed y'all last week, but even my archive shows are hopefully still entertaining. Tonight, my guest is Bill Austin. Bill Austin is a spiritual...
You are tuned in to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Healer, teacher, artist, writer, and visionary, living in St. Petersburg, Florida, I believe, in the United States, although I didn't have to tell you that. Anyway, he has been on the spiritual path for over 18 years now and has been working as a full-time spiritual healer for over 6 years. He founded Practical Mastery and Angelic Mastery spiritual healing modalities and has helped hundreds of people, probably thousands, if not more, people around the world. So let's meet Bill right now by saying hello to him. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Lance?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm doing all right. I was just reviewing your artwork and your book and all that, and just admiring the beauty of it. And maybe we could start out by having you give everybody a little bit of your background and, you know, where you came from. How did you discover spirituality, and what were you doing before then, and what prompted you to turn in this direction?
Well, I guess I have a fairly normal childhood. I grew up in Central Virginia. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a nurse. I had a very traditional sort of life. I went to William & Mary for college, graduated in '83 with